G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. With that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the Barbie, and let's get right into it. Posted by user PBD1996, titled, Am I the asshole for leaving a note on my neighbor's doorstep about his screaming children? I have lived in the same apartment building for about 5 years. Throughout my time here, I've had many neighbors come and go, and I've never had any noise issues. However, last year, a new neighbor moved in 3 units down. He's about 40 and has 3 children under the age of 4. For months, I have listened to his children scream and cry all day long, whether it be in his apartment or in the hallway. At first, I tried to ignore the behavior as I felt bad. It appeared that he was a newly single father and was struggling. However, as time went on, it became clear that he just straight up lets his kids behave however they want. For example, when they shriek at the top of their lungs in the hallway / right outside my door, he never says, "Shh, let's be quiet," or anything at all. He just lets it happen without a peep. Additionally, I've come to realize the frequency and the volume of the screaming, crying, shrieking is way beyond what is normal. I'd venture to say that I hear anywhere from 10 to 15 full-on tantrums every single day, all of which are ear-piercingly loud. And like I said, he does not say or do anything about these tantrums. It's now at the point where I find myself frustrated and annoyed in my own home all the time. Right now, I'm working on a paper in my apartment, and I can't even concentrate because all I can hear are his children. Because of this, I wrote a note, a polite one, and left it on his doorstep. Essentially, my note said that I sympathized with him, but the noise is out of control. I also stressed that I wanted to confront him directly first. I realized that sounds hypocritical since I left an anonymous note rather than going straight to management. Am I the asshole for leaving this note? Should I have handled it differently? In the comments, Espin Jack says, whether divorced or widowed, both circumstances come with the possibility of problematic outcomes, which seems to have happened. Not the asshole, but walk a mile in his shoes. It has to suck raising 3 children under the age of 4 alone. I'm not saying that you did anything wrong, you didn't, but put on your empathy shoes and dig deep. This person has a seriously shitty situation and doesn't have the means or a handle on how to make things better. The kids are acting out over the loss of their mother, whether from death or divorce. The guy isn't coping well, whether from death or divorce. I hope your note sparked something in the guy's brain that said, there's a problem here that needs to be addressed. And if not, expect more noise. Sorry. Joe's Wasted Time says, you're the asshole. What do you think he's going to do exactly with 3 children under 4? Spend all day elsewhere so you can be comfortable? You live in a shared space. Get earplugs. OP replies, I don't know, maybe tell his child to be quiet when she's shrieking in the hallway at the top of her lungs for no reason, and apologize to all the neighbors who opened their doors to see what the commotion was about? Joe replies to OP, you assume he hasn't already tried to quiet the kids. You think he enjoys hearing them scream? You should apologize. OP replies, considering he wears headphones all day while he games? No, I don't think he has the pleasure of hearing them scream all day like the rest of us do. How would you even know that? OP replies, because he told my husband that he's an avid gamer and games pretty much all day long. He's also a tech geek and retired. He sold some sort of major software. Strong Warm Sweet says, you're the asshole. That's totally normal for 3 children under the age of 4. I'm not sure what you believe your note will accomplish. OP replies, according to professionals, it is actually not normal for children to have that many tantrums in a 24-hour time span. I thought you meant combined, like each one having 4 or 5. That is totally normal. It depends on the kid's natural temperament though. I'm sure some kids have none. It's not something the parent is doing wrong though. It is biological temperament. Something tells me by professionals, you mean Google. OP replies, a child's behavior has a direct relationship with their environment and how they are parented. It is not something that's 100% dependent on their natural temperament. And now, onto the update. So after reading the comments on my original post, I decided to remove the note before my neighbor saw it. I took what some of you said into consideration. Perhaps I just needed to be more patient. I decided that if the noise issue escalated, then I would do something. Otherwise, I would just suck it up and use headphones like some of you advised. Well, today his children screamed/shrieked 4 times within a 1-hour period in the hallway. This was right by my door about 2 feet away from my apartment. The 4th time it happened, I opened my door and said, "Please don't scream in the hallway, guys." Once I said this, he told me that his kids are allowed to scream in the hallway or anywhere else in the building that they feel like. I told him that actually no, they're not, according to our lease. He then told me to suck it up and contact management and not to talk to him. After our conversation, he told all 3 of his kids, "You can be as loud as you want in here," and then shot me a nasty look and proceeded to walk to the stairs. Once he said that, all 3 kids started squealing as loud as possible on purpose. I sent management an email, and they're talking to him first thing in the morning. I know some of you suggested that I do this in the first place, and I wish I did. Update 2.0. I just went down to the management office to follow up with the manager. She said she had a meeting set for today at 1 p.m. with the resident. She immediately contacted him when I emailed her last night. But then today, he emailed her saying he could no longer make the 1 p.m. meeting and asked why he had to come down. He's in his apartment right now doing nothing. He doesn't work. She told him that he is in violation of his lease and it's best if he comes down. Apparently, he didn't reply to her. She told me that if he doesn't come down to meet with her, she is going to draft an official lease violation letter and begin the process of eviction. I was blown away. She's a great manager. She told me that his reaction, telling me his kids are allowed to yell and telling the kids to keep yelling, is the reason for how she's handling this, not purely the noise complaints. She said she's horrified and disgusted that somebody would handle the situation this way. Her and I both agreed that it was strange that he would encourage me to not speak to him and to contact management rather than just simply telling his kids, "Shush," and appreciating that I said something to him directly. Update 3. After I talked with management, I saw my neighbor bring his children to their mother's house. He has been in his apartment alone for the last few days and hasn't come out. He has all the blinds drawn. He posted the following status on social media: "I am the perfect success in all areas of life." My husband follows him, which is how I know this. I think he's pretending that he's not home to avoid both myself and management. I don't know what to make of it, and I don't plan on getting involved. In the comments, better take some recordings as proof, otherwise loud is subjective. Paul Ozio says, "In my experience, even with recordings, it's subjective. When I complained about neighbors having loud parties, sometimes going on till 6 a.m., I had recordings, but the council told me that one of the things they might have to do before they could make any sanctions would be to set up their own recording equipment to check the actual decibel level. A phone recording or whatever wasn't good enough because you can't get a true indication of the sound level. Phones have volume buttons." This is an area heavily populated with university students who normally only stay for 1 to 2 years, so nothing ever happens because they can move out before it can. Then the next students arrive, and the process starts again. It's been better in the last year or 2 though. The Riker maneuver says, "You should also get a cheap decimal meter and record the noise volumes when his kids are being loud. Document, document, document. If you can prove a behavior of excess noise over time, it will help give the management team the ammunition they need to force him out of the complex/building. Our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for walking out on a date I didn't know that I was on?" My 39 male relationship of 11 years with my ex ended 3 and a bit years ago. I decided then that that was a last relationship for me and I didn't want a relationship again. Life isn't all that bad. For some reason though, people have started to get a bit weird about it, especially my colleagues, and mainly women. I can't work that one out, as the dudes I know are a lot more chill about it usually, who think that they know better than me, tell me I don't want to get lonely, am a great catch, have a lot to offer, etc. I had such a discussion like that a couple of weeks ago at work, particularly with one colleague S, 30 female, who talks about it a lot. And I don't know why, because she's married. S is leaving, and because we're friends, I was going to meet her on Monday for a coffee/meal. So I turn up and she's not there, so I text her. As I do, and I think I'm waiting, I see an old colleague, A, who both me and S used to work with in other jobs. So I say hi to A and make small talk for a bit, and I say something like, "I wonder where S is." And A goes, "I don't know what you mean. I thought the date was between us two." I then put 2 and 2 together and realize that S set me up on a date without me realizing, and A thinking I know I'm on a date. So I say basically to A, "Sorry, but I'm leaving. Sorry S wasted her time," and I go. I then ring S and she doesn't answer, so I send her a really angry text. Later, I get a call from her asking what happened. Then I told her. She ignored all of my anger and went, "So you walked out on A? What the F, man? That's so not cool. You should have at least stayed." I ignored her and hung up. I go into work the next day, and everyone knows, as she's already told them, and they said I shouldn't have gone mad at S, as she was only doing me a favor. One colleague in particular said he would have loved to go on a date with someone as hot as A. Presumably he's seen a picture then. I then get DIY therapy advice. I'm wasting my life. I shouldn't be lonely. I need therapy, etc. I told them to F off and stop watching Dr. Phil. Today, the atmosphere is really icy. Am I the asshole for it at all? I'm gonna go with absolutely not. S started this drama, and then she continued the drama at work and turned everyone against you, creating a hostile work environment. You have clearly communicated your relationship preferences, your dating preferences, and you have tried to fix the situation at work, and everyone decides to give you advice that you don't need or want. I don't blame you for reacting the way you did. I don't blame you for walking out on that date. You should have been told this in advance so that you could politely decline it, but S thinks that she knows better because... who knows why she knows better? S sounds just bored in her own life and like, "Oh, I'm gonna play the matchmaker, it's gonna be like a movie." S, no. Delirious, delusional, dysfunctional. These things don't work in the real world, S. Get out of your fantasy. In the comments, some coyote 1409 says, S should mind her effing business. Your colleagues should mind their own business and go on a date with A if they want to. Not the asshole. That's your life. No one can force you into doing that. Good luck, and don't apologize. You did nothing wrong, and your anger towards S is normal. Not saying this will happen for OP, but when I finally had sworn off all relationships and just stopped looking or caring, I met my current wife. It's almost like when the pressure is off and people truly be themselves, others can tell and will respond accordingly. This happened to me. After a terrible break, I wasn't looking for anyone. I was single for over a year. I happened to message someone to ask them a question. We were responding to each other on a post when the OP shut off the comments, so I messaged him. Something I never do. He responded a few days later. He answered my question, and I said thank you and have a nice life. He said something funny to respond, and we kept messaging. Now I'm totally in love. We will be celebrating 1 year together in August. Same here. I'd split up with my boyfriend of 4.5 years, so wasn't looking for anyone at all. Me and my friend were messing around on a site where you posted your photo and people would rate you out of 10. She was trying to give me an ego boost because my ex cheated on me. A guy messaged to say hi. I just have to say you have the most amazing blue eyes. I said thank you so much, but explained that my friend posted my pic for a joke, and I wasn't interested in meeting anyone, so didn't want to give the wrong impression. He never gave up though. We chatted for 18 months before I moved countries to be with him. We've been married 16 years now and have an 11-year-old son, after I was told I would never have children. So it's amazing how sometimes things just kind of fall into place without you even realizing. And now, onto the update. You're alright. Poor A had no idea at all. So I've just dropped her a line on her LinkedIn. It's the only contact details I have for her, and apologized for my reaction, explained why, and said it's no reflection on her at all. She didn't deserve that. Second update. Just heard back from her on LinkedIn. She said that I have nothing to apologize for. She totally understands, and said she is absolutely livid with S. I replied back thanking her for her understanding. And I have no idea why, but I invited her for a coffee so we could catch up properly. I wasn't expecting to do that, but I did. Unfortunately, that is the last update for that one. If there is another update, which is very unlikely, I will cover it in the future, but I'd love to know what you guys think of that one down in the comments below. Let me know. And our next post is by user OppositeCobbler845, titled, "Am I the asshole for stepping down from my maid of honor position after being publicly humiliated by the bride? I'm 25 female, and the bride is also 25 female. We'll call her M. We met freshman year of college back in 2016 and became friends. Shortly after returning home from the military a few months ago, she got engaged to a mutual friend. We'll call him A. M asked me to be her maid of honor, and I happily took the position. For months now, I've repeatedly asked her if there was anything for me to do and if she needed any help. Last month, she announced that she was pregnant, and I've made sure to check on her as much as I can. She has repeatedly told me that I don't need to help or do anything for her or the wedding. Yesterday, she called to tell me to be at a dress fitting that was taking place not even 30 minutes later. So yes, I was informed last minute and had to reschedule a meeting with my PT, which was fine, and my PT understood how important it was. After arriving at the dress fitting, M started yelling at me, and even went as far as pushing me for not fulfilling my role as the maid of honor and being late, even though she's told me not to do anything other than my speech and informed me of every event last minute. I apologized. I assumed she was just stressed and didn't want to upset her any further. I thought it was over after she told me to get my shit together, but nope. She decided that it was a good idea to publicly shame me for a sexual assault that happened to me as a child. Even her own mother asked her what the hell she said, and she repeated it even louder to where everyone heard it. I didn't know if I should cry or beat the hell out of her, but I left instead. She knew that I never fully recovered from that and basically knows all of my triggers. I went straight to the gym and asked my job to get me in some lead therapy. I work at a shooting range. It didn't help, and multiple of M's friends were calling and texting me, so of course I turned off my phone and went home. I'm not proud of what I did once I went home. I pretty much drunk like the sailor I once was and scrolled through all of the messages that I received. Well, M wasn't very happy that I left the dress fitting and made sure to rip my ass apart through text and online. One post stated that my behavior was the reason why I didn't have any friends when I returned home, and I failed in the Navy. I had to leave because I had stage 3 breast cancer and was recently cleared of it. This morning she called me to tell me that I had no right to leaving when she needed me, and that I now have to pay for my own dress. I told her that she had no right to say what she said, or to even make my personal trauma public, and to find a new maid of honor before hanging up. I've even gone as far as cutting off all ties to her by blocking her and anyone that tried shaming me for walking away. So am I the asshole? I can see why she wants to frame this as you being the asshole here, but your response to the absolute garbage coming out of her mouth pales in comparison, you know? I don't think anything that you've done here warrants an asshole judgment. You've pulled out. You've done the most respectful thing in response to a situation like that. I'll be honest. I'll be very honest here. She is genuinely lucky that your response to trauma and your response to situations like this is not to beat the shit out of her, not to tear her eyes out, because there are definitely people that will respond in that way. I can see that being a situation where maybe you'd be the asshole for beating her half to death, but even then I'd probably think you're a bit justified for it. It doesn't sound like it, but internally I am lost for words that someone can be this low. Someone can do this to you. That is genuinely disgusting. There is no timeline. There is no universe in which you're an asshole for this situation, OP. Not the asshole. In the comments, Organization 60 says, anyone who said that you were in the wrong needs to get cut out of your life immediately. Not the asshole. People suck. You trusted her with a story that causes you pain, and she used it to cause you pain. Bridezilla is no excuse to treat someone you supposedly care about in such a terrible manner. And then shamed her for leaving the military because she had breast cancer? I hope that bride has the wedding she deserves. Not the asshole. Walk away from that train wreck who used to be a friend and block her for how she treated you. Ugh, someone should let the fiancé know that it's an interspecies marriage. He's human, and OP's former friend is a scum-sucking nematode. OP, walk far away from this mess. As the previous comment says, you did the right thing by blocking everyone who tried reasoning in her favor. Edit, due to the protests by folks about how nematodes are useful, why don't we amend that to a sewer-dwelling troglodyte who should be hit on the head by a passing flying toilet? From another Navy vet who is currently being treated for breast cancer, you don't need that kind of trash in your life. She is nasty. Lead therapy is awesome, by the way. And now, onto the update. Wasn't sure how to do an update on here. M's mum, we'll call her Jay, posted online about what really happened to the dress fitting, and she apologized to me. We had a good talk about the next steps, and I told her that I was washing my hands of M. She's supporting my decision and wants me to at least keep in touch with her since I've already been adopted into the family. She suggested that maybe it's a jealousy issue because she won't stop talking about how successful I am. What she doesn't know is that jealousy issue is there because she won't stop talking to people about how successful I am and that I'm basically retired now. I did tell Jay that I'm nowhere near successful nor near retirement. I've just always been working my ass off to get what I need. I also found out that M reached out to my fiancé to tell him that I'm cheating. I didn't and will never cheat. After having a long talk, he told me that we no longer had to hide our own engagement. We didn't announce it because we didn't want to take the light off M and her fiancé. The plan was to announce it a few days after the wedding. My fiancé made the announcement online after our talk. I'll try to answer some questions on here as well. Some have asked what did I do to M, and I really have no idea. No one else can figure it out either. She wasn't this way when I left for the military, but maybe I was just blind back then. I was also gone for a while, and we barely had the chance to keep in touch, but I always tried to, which is kinda hard to stay in contact with people when you're on a ship miles and miles away. I know that over time people do change, and I wasn't expecting everyone to just pretend that I didn't leave for a few years, because I did. My main focus when I returned home was to be with my adopted family and caught up with my little brothers. Her fiancé does know about what happened because her parents told him the truth and he was pissed. We did talk and about how I was doing, and that's about it. He said he's been having doubts and I told him that I wanted nothing to do with it. The last thing I need right now is to be blamed for everything being called off. I also know that the maid of honor plays a big role in planning the wedding, but for some reason I was the only person not helping. It was probably a setup for all I know, but I don't know. I did try to help her, but she didn't want my help, so after a while of asking, I just stopped asking. I'm also not abusing alcohol. That was the first time I've used it to try to fix my emotions. Was never much of a drinker, but I did decide to just stay away from it until I know for sure that it won't be a problem in the future. I did start seeing a therapist after leaving the military. I'm still readjusting to being out as well. Someone suggested that I sleep with her fiancé. Nope, I'm good with the one that I have. I think my fiancé posting about our engagement was his way to say F you to her. And all's well that ends well with a story like that, guys. I'm very happy for the way that OP handled this and that there wasn't a murder involved. Anyway, I'd love to know what you guys think of this one down below in the comments. With that said, I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.